That was a very, very tough loss this week. But I'm not going to be bitter. I'm not going to be upset about it. I'm not even going to go into all the reasons why it wasn't even a fair game. I'm not going to talk about 3 games in 12 days. I'm not going to talk about any of that stuff. We're just going to focus on the future. We're going to focus on the future. And that's going to be that. Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 15 of the Rebuttal. I am your host, Robbie A. Shaw. After this week, there are only 2 games left in this NFL season. Can you believe it? In the year of COVID and everything else that's been going on, we still almost have already played a full football season. And just like the NBA, I feel like the NFL did as good a job as they could. But I'm not here to get into that. I'm here to talk about one thing and one thing only, the Steelers. I feel like this episode might end up being a little bit more of a rant episode than I intended it to be. But at the same time, it is what it is. This is what you come here for. This is what you want to hear. You want to hear this Robbie A. Shaw randomly rant about the Pittsburgh Steelers when they're doing badly. And right now, they suck. Like, I kept trying to decide if I was actually going to say that. I kept trying to decide if I was going to focus on the reasons why we didn't win this week against Buffalo. I was going to focus on Joe Hayden being hurt and Robert Spillane being out and different things like that. I was going to focus on the fact that the Steelers were up 7-3, and if they don't throw that interception at the end of the half, maybe it's something different. I was also going to focus on the fact that the Steelers had 2 turnovers in the first half that they took from the Buffalo Bills, 2 interceptions. They had great defensive line play. They had great back-end play, and they almost had a chance to be going in at halftime up 7-3, maybe 10-3, maybe 14-3. And then the second half happened. Then I can't even say, and then the second half happened like I've done before, where I'm like, hey, everything was going great. And then the second half happened because it was kind of more of the same. The one difference that I did see in the second half was that the Bills were able to stay on the field longer. The Steelers still anemic in running. We cannot run the football at all. I don't know what's going on because considering the first few games of the season, we were able to run out games. We would get a lead. We were able to run out the rest of the clock. We were able to win the games, and our defense looked a lot fresher. Now they're on the field a lot longer than they've been in the past, and I absolutely believe that has something to do with these last 2 losses. If you look at the Washington game, we were up 14-0. Should have won that game going away, easy peasy, and we're still undefeated. This game, there was a point in the game where you could just see that the defense was worn out. They had been on the field for so long. Deontay Johnson had a few more drops in the first half. Continuing theme, Eric Ebron had a couple drops, but I was kind of happy to see that they did bench Deontay Johnson, who, even though he's one of our more explosive players, they did bench him. And then when he came back in the second half, he did put up productive numbers. I think he had 1 drop in the third, and then from then on, he made really great plays. He made catches. He secured the football. And this was just a game that was going to be hard even if everyone was there. This was a game that was going to be hard even if we had a running game. This is a surging Buffalo Bills team that's lost 1 game in, I think, their last 5 games, and that was on a last-second pass from Kyler Murray. So if you take that off the table and they win that game, they've won about 5 or 6 in a row. They are rolling. They're at home, and they're looking to win their first division title in the AFC East since like 1990-something. They are moving in the right direction, and the Steelers are not. There's no other way to put it. And I know some people are going to say, you guys have 11 wins, shut up and stop whining. I almost said that to myself earlier because I often feel like, dude, we have to remember that they've won 11 games. But we have to also know that 11 games without a championship means nothing. If you're a Steelers fan or a football fan, you'll see that sometimes the Steelers will blow your mind. But a lot of the times they will disappoint you. They will have you sitting there thinking, yes, this is the year we get number 7. And then we don't do it. And it sucks so much. Like, I can't even put it any other way. It sucks because you really want the Steelers to do well. I've often said that when the Steelers are doing good, football is doing good. And I don't care what team you're a fan of. I don't care if you never watch football. You either love the Steelers or you hate the Steelers. And that's how it is. A lot of people don't like the Steelers because of past wins. My mom can't stand the Steelers because he says, you guys are always talking about winning and you won all these championships and blah, blah, blah. My mom doesn't even watch football, but she watches my show. Hey, Mom. But she said that a bunch of times. I know other people that just don't want the Steelers to do well, that do like football, that do have their favorite team. But if their team is doing whatever, it comes back to, well, the Steelers lost or the Steelers aren't doing well, and blah, 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 blah. I went to work the other day and somebody was like, yeah, Steelers lost, they suck, blah, blah, blah. And so I had to pause and compose myself. And I said, hey, unless your team has a better record than my team, I suggest you don't say anything. And then somebody else at work was like, yes, and I like the Cowboys, and that's why I didn't say anything. So I'm like, hey, it is what it is. It's like people that when the Heat were winning all those titles, either you like the Heat or you didn't like the Heat. So the Steelers did lose last week. We are now 11-2. We lost 26-15. Very weird score. Very weird game because in the first half of the game, it looked like our defense was going to hold on. But you just knew that our offense was going to have to do something to help our defense out. And they didn't. Either they weren't able to, or whatever the situation was, maybe they were worn out from all the games. Don't know what it was. The Steelers lose. We are now no longer number one in the AFC. Kansas City has taken that from us. And now we're the number 2 seed. And now we don't have that first round bye. And things just don't look that good going forward. The only good thing that I can say, if we can end up with the same record as the Chiefs, we do get the first round bye, I believe, due to a tiebreaker. Not 100% sure, but I do believe we do. So I think it comes down to the Chiefs' loss would be in division, and none of our losses have been in our division yet. So that gives us the edge. But we have to worry about ourselves. The Steelers need to focus on this week's game against Cincinnati. And I almost wanted to come in here and say, hey, man, I feel really good, because it's Cincinnati. It's the Bengals. It's the Bungles. If you watched the game from last week, I watched the highlights today because I wanted to refresh myself and find out just how bad they were. And it was worse than I thought. They had 3 fumbles in the first half. The Cowboys are 3-9. And they look like they were a championship team last week against the Bengals. And what has to suck for the Bengals is the fact that Andy Dalton is the quarterback of the Cowboys. Andy Dalton came into town with his new squad and won. No one was surprised. I'm surprised people even went to the game. You can tell it's kind of one of those weird years where I know people are like, you know what? I still want to go to that game. They have limited seating. I want to go see that game. Because there were people in the stands. And I'm like, wait a minute. This was the Cowboys and the Bengals, right? Like the Cowboys had 3 wins and 9 losses. The Bengals were 2-9-1 before that game. There were 5 wins between both teams and people still went to watch it. I don't know why, but they did. And I'm sure they would treat it to a good game if you're a Cowboys fan, a bad game if you're a Bengals fan. But at this point, why are you a Bengals fan? Just let it go. Joe Burrow went out. You need to move on. At least for this season. Wait till he comes back next year and they let A.J. Green go and they get another wide receiver. You never know. They're good. They're going to be good. Give them 1 or 2 years. I think we got to push that back to 2 or 3 years now because they lost Joe Burrow this year. So give them 2 or 3 years. They're going to be a really good team. And Ben's going to be retired by that point. And, there's going to be a chance for the Bengals. So moving on to this week, we have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Pittsburgh Steelers being played on Monday night in Cincinnati in a game that I feel like should be a playoff game. And I'm saying that because we need a really good showing against the Bengals. And I know people are going to say, hey, it's the Bengals. They're not good. They're 2-10-1. Of course you're going to have a good showing. And that's exactly the mentality I don't want the Steelers to have. I want the Steelers to play angry. I want the Steelers to go in there and act like somebody just stole the last 2 games from them. And I want them to run up the score on the Bengals like they've never run up the score before. I would love another 30-7 game. If the Cowboys can beat the Bengals 30-10 or 30-7, I think it was 30-10. The Steelers should at least put up 30 on the Bengals. They should. That's going to be our measuring stick. If a suck team can put 30 up on the Bengals at home, we should put 30 points on the Bengals at home. I don't even want to hear anything else. There's no X's and O's to talk about. You guys should play angry. They should go in there, and they should push the Bengals around. They're now starting Finley at quarterback because their backup quarterback got hurt last week. This guy, I don't want to see any hope. And I've said this before, but we need this time. Like, I'm saying it and I'm pleading like, hey, blow the Bengals out because we need to feel good. We expect you to blow the Bengals out. You should blow them out. You blow them out all the time. Please, let's do that this time. Let's figure out a way to get some things going in the right direction because next week is the Colts. The Colts are playing for a playoff spot. And then after that, we got the Browns, which is usually an easy game. But we're going to Cleveland in Week 17, and the Browns are in the playoff hunt. This could be one of those situations where we play the Browns 1 week, turn around because we didn't get the first-round bye, and have to play them again for the third time. We could end up playing the Ravens again for the third time. We need to put some space between us and everybody else. We need to catch Kansas City. I don't care if Kansas City ends up beating us in a tiebreaker. We need to have a good record. We need to have the same record. These next 3 games are winnable games. The Bills game was a winnable game. We didn't win it. We need to win these next 3. And this wasn't really the way I wanted to go with this episode. This episode, I wanted to be all funny and talk about different things and blah, 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 and no big deal and all that other good stuff. But this is a big deal. This is a big deal. I know the AFC isn't as strong as it's been in past years, but we can clinch our division this game. That's how big it is. Because with the Browns losing in that crazy Monday night game, they still have 9 wins. So if we can get to 13 wins, to 12 wins and have a tiebreaker, they can't win the division from us. I'm not really worried about the Ravens right now, but I see them creeping. I'm not really worried about them, though. But the Browns, I am. The Browns have looked really good and quietly because everyone's been looking at the Steelers and saying 11-0 and now 11-1 and now 11-2 and everyone's going, oh, the sky's falling. The Browns are creeping along and no one's looking. Since Odell's been out, they've won a bunch of games and they've only lost 4. So they're a very serious bunch. I'll say it again. We cannot overlook the Bengals. We've got to figure out what's wrong with our running game. Yes, we've had injuries on our offensive line. Yes, our running backs are not top-tier running backs. All of that good stuff. Yes, Ben is older, doesn't take snaps under center, always in the shotgun. Yes, they're very true. But like Mike Tomlin says, the standard is a standard. These are things that have been happening for quite some time. We've got to figure out a way to just bully the Bengals. I need a bully game. I need a game where it's over by the second quarter. I would love to be up like we were in that Tennessee game. We were up like 21-7. I would love that at halftime. Or 17-7, whatever it was. That's what I want. We've got to figure something out. We've had a full week this week. This is the first time we've had a full week. So we should be a little bit more well-rested. We've had Monday to Monday. We've had some time to put some things in. We've had some time to watch the tape. We've had some time to look at ourselves in the mirror. We've had some time to do all of that stuff. Now it's time to go out on the field and just beat up on the Bengals. That's all it is. It's time to beat up on them. Let's have some fun. And let's feel good about ourselves again because haven't felt good these last few games. So now, what do I think the final score is going to be? Personally, I would like the final score to be 35-7. That's what I'm looking for. I doubt it's going to happen because right now I don't have a lot of faith in our offense or our defense. The defense because of injuries. Our offense because our offensive line is not pushing people around and our receivers keep dropping the ball. They're getting better, but still lead the league in drops. But I just feel like this is one of those games that is crucial for us. We lost the other test game. We lost the last one against the Bills where I said, this is a test to see where we are. Had we won that game, we'd still be number 1 in the AFC. But we're not now. So if you want some adversity, if you want just some backs against the wall type situation, you got it. Let's show up. Let's show out. Let's go into Cincinnati and smack them around. 35-7 is what I want the score to be. What I think it'll actually be, I think it'll be more like 21-17 because I don't trust our offense. Unless something happens to change my mind, I don't trust our offense against anyone. And that's not even saying that the Bengals are a good team. It's saying that our offense is that bad. We haven't scored 20 points in the last 3 weeks. We've played good defenses. I get that. But at the same time, if we're a good offense or a decent offense, 21 points is easy. So I think the score, like I said, I want it to be 35-7. I think it'll be more like 21, 24-17. But I do see the Steelers winning and getting off this losing streak. Yes, it's only 2 weeks, but it's still a big deal when you're trying to be the best. If you're trying to be number one, and it's still a big deal when you got Kansas City, who doesn't seem to lose. And they've had some close games, and they've pulled them out. And I'm not completely sold on Kansas City. I'm going to keep saying that. What I really want is us versus them in an AFC championship game. That's all I want. I will take that because I've been saying all season, I'll take my defense against their offense. And even though our defense has been hampered, we've lost some people, I just want to shut everyone up and say, hey, you're not the best until you beat the best. And Kansas City right now looks like they're the best. They're the defending Super Bowl champions. I want Kansas City. I want to play them for the Super Bowl. And I'm praying I get my wish. Well, that's all for now. Thank you if you made it to the end of all of my ranting and all my yelling. I'm probably going to watch this episode and decide whether or not to post it. But this one was a from the heart episode. I didn't even go into the stats and things of that nature, but I just want to win. So I'll take the win. If it's pretty, I'll love it. If it's ugly, I just need to win. And then I'll be happy. The last couple of weeks have been hard. I've been wondering and questioning myself. And I'm like, should I go really hard on the Steelers? Should I talk about how much we suck and how we can't run and how receivers can't catch and how Ben is old and he looks old and all people have to do is blitz us and they're getting us blah, blah, blah. No. I love my team. So this is where I am right now. But anyway, thank you all for joining. Thank you all for watching. There is a playoff edition in the works, and I must tell you all already that it is going to be probably an hour-long special. I'm going to have a few of my guests come back. We're going to talk the Steelers. We're going to talk their teams. We're going to talk all that good stuff, and I hope you all will join. I'm trying to figure out when exactly that's going to be and get everyone's schedule together, so be on the lookout for that. And if you're enjoying these, tell your friends. Post on your Facebook, post on your Instagram, tweet your friends, do whatever you guys got to do. Get the word out because I'm having fun talking to you guys, and I hope you guys are having fun listening to me. And if you don't like the episodes, post it and tell how much it sucks, and maybe people will watch it anyway. And I hope you tune in next week when we talk about the Colts and the Steelers in a very big game. The Colts trying to get into the playoffs. The Steelers trying to get back to that number one seed, hopefully after a win this week. And every game down the stretch is a big one. The NFL got it right with its schedule. They have made these games that are going to count one way or the other. And we've got to show up, and we've got to play our best game. But anyway, that's all for now. Be safe. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And I'll see you right back here next week on the Rebuttal, hopefully after Steelers win. That's the way. I'm glittering and I don't know why. There was a part in the game where the Bills were up 11 and the Steelers had another chance and they could have got the ball. I don't know what it was, but I don't want to talk about that. If you're a true Steelers fan, you see that sometimes this team will blow your mind. But I've often said, I feel like my camera is lopsided. Does it look lopsided to anybody else? Maybe I need to tilt it that way. Nope, that's really lopsided. We need to go the other way. Now that's lopsided. Oh. We're going to go with it.